Alright, let's talk about arrays in Bash. So we know we can set up variables, and we don't normally think of Bash as an environment where we're going to be doing a lot of heavy sort of data structure type processing, but we can actually implement two different types of arrays in Bash, and this is pretty useful. We can certainly make an array, let me just call it X, and say X bracket 1 equals 12, and X bracket 2 equals 23, and X bracket 4 equals 101. And we have an array. We can say echo dollar sign, and if we say X bracket 1, we just get X bracket 1. But if we say echo dollar sign curly bracket X bracket 1, we actually get the value of X1 or X2 or X4. And if we try to pick off X3, well, it's just like, echo dollar, a variable that doesn't exist. It just comes out blank. So this isn't bad, right? This is a useful way to make sort of a general array like we do in C, for example. But the real powerful feature with Bash arrays is we can make associative arrays. And an associative array is an array where our indexes do not have to be just integers. They can be anything. They can be letters. They could be sentences, which means, they could be long strings of characters. And all of these things are valid arrays. Now if I just say X bracket ABC equals 2, and I echo dollar sign curly X bracket ABC, right, I get my 2. So we have the ability to index things with things other than integers. And one thing we can do with this is we can start to make associations between what we can call key and value pairs. And so let me give you an example. Suppose we want to make a list of holidays. And if you want to be clear about this, you can say declare dash uppercase A, and then say what the name of your array is. And I can say holidays bracket Halloween equals 31 October, and holidays, gotta spell it right, holidays bracket Christmas equals 25 December, and holidays bracket Easter, and I'll just make up a date, 16th April. Holidays birthday equals, let's just do 5 May. And let's do New Year's. We don't really need quotes. Is 1 January. All right, well now I have an array that contains the dates of certain holidays, but in order to find the date of a holiday, I can actually use the thing I'm searching for as an index. So if I want to know what day is Easter, I can echo dollar sign curly bracket holidays bracket Easter, and it tells me Easter is on 16th of April. And if I want to know what day Boxing Day is, well, it comes up blank because Boxing Day is not associated with any value in my associative array. So this is also sometimes called a hash table. And we'll talk about hash tables and hashing in detail in CSE 222. We talk about them briefly in CSE 215 when we talk about number theory. But the idea is we basically have a set of keys, and we can use those keys to access a value associated with each key. Associative arrays are really powerful. Once you have them in your toolbox, you start finding lots of ways to use them, and you start to realize that a lot of problems can be solved by putting your data in the form of key value pairs. So if you're writing a compiler, for example, you have a variable that you encounter when it's declared. Someone says integer, sum, and you need to record that sum is an integer and where it's stored and what its value is, and you can do all that in an array called variables. And your key would be the name of the variable, and the data would be its value, the type of variable it is, where it's stored in memory, and so on. And so when you find a variable somewhere else in the program you're compiling, you pop into your associative array, pull out the information about it. If it comes up blank, then you say, hey, that variable hasn't been declared. So this is a really cool tool to have. Now one oddity with hash tables or associative arrays is, how do we iterate through all of the values? We know if we have a traditional array, say an array of 10 elements, we can get to those 10 elements as array bracket 0, array bracket 1, and so on. But if someone just said, yeah, I've got an array called holidays, we don't know how to pull all of the data out because we don't know what all the possible keys are. And we can't try holidays bracket, every possible string, because there's an infinite number of possible strings. So we need some way to be able to go through the contents of this array one element at a time. And in order to do that, all we have to do is get a hold of a list of keys. And there's an interesting way of doing that. We can say $ curly bracket exclamation mark, the name of the array bracket @, and then close bracket, close curly. And when we do that, we get a list of keys. And so we know there's something stored at holidays, bracket Easter, Halloween, Christmas, New Year's, and birthday. And so we could iterate across this. We talked in an earlier video about iterating over elements of a list. So we could say for key in $ curly bracket exclamation holidays bracket @. And so this will loop a number of times, and each time key will be equal to one of these. So let's say do echo key equals $key, value equals, and let's extract the value using that key. So $ curly bracket holidays bracket $key. Done. And so this should go through our associative array 5 times and print out the value of each key value pair. So we do that, and it says, yeah, there's an Easter, Halloween, Christmas, New Year's, and birthday, and there's the corresponding values. And you may note that the order in which these keys appeared is perhaps a bit mysterious. They're not alphabetized. They're not reverse alphabetized. They're also not in the order that we put them in. We went Halloween, Christmas, Easter, but they came out Easter, Halloween, Christmas. And there's no guarantee on the order of these things. So when we get into the details of implementing hash tables in a winter quarter, we'll see why this is happening, why the order is effectively unpredictable. But nonetheless, we have a simple mechanism for getting the list of keys and then iterating over that list of keys and pulling out the values. And then we can do, whatever we want with that. So this is a useful way to store information in memory, and then be able to pull it back by using something other than just consecutive integers. So that's the idea of an associative array, and we'll be doing a lot of things with them down the road.